Just in, Spain's future Queen marries Prince Christian live from Denmark, November 6, 2025. The palace gates opened. The world stopped. Cameras flashed across Copenhagen as something unthinkable unfolded, a royal union that rewrote history itself. Everyone expected another ceremonial appearance, another diplomatic meeting. But no one expected this. Not today. Not like this. Princess Leonor of Spain, Prince Christian of Denmark, two young royals who grew up under the weight of destiny, now standing face to face, not as heirs, but as lovers. The world watched in stunned silence as the bells of Copenhagen's Frederikskirke rang out. It wasn't a state visit. It was a wedding, a royal wedding that no one saw coming, and yet, one that everyone had secretly hoped for. For years, whispers surrounded Leonor and Christian. Glances at state banquets. Smiles exchanged during royal galas. A quiet friendship that bloomed beneath the world's gaze. But both palaces denied it. Both families stayed silent. Until today. As dawn broke over Denmark, the Spanish royal jet landed discreetly in Copenhagen. No press release. No red carpet. Just a quiet arrival, with Queen Letizia and King Felipe stepping down in elegant calm. Their faces serious, yet softened by something deeper, pride, perhaps, or acceptance. Meanwhile, in Amalienborg Palace, Christian was already dressed. Navy blue uniform, adorned with Danish and Spanish insignias. He stood by the window, gazing at the square below, the same square where his grandmother, Queen Margrethe, once waved to her people. Today, the flags flew differently. Danish red and white, Spanish red and gold. Two nations, one story. Inside the church, only a few hundred guests were invited, royals, diplomats, and close family. No reporters. No leaks. But the moment the cathedral doors opened, the world found out. Live feeds started streaming across Europe. Spanish television cut to breaking news. Just in, Spain's future queen marries Prince Christian of Denmark, live. The bride walked in. Princess Leonor, radiant in ivory silk designed by Lorenzo Caprile. A modern gown with a traditional heart. No crown, just a simple tiara, her mother's from her wedding in 2004. Her expression was calm, but her eyes glowed with the kind of love that stories are written about. As she reached the altar, Christian stepped forward. He didn't bow. He took her hand. The audience gasped. Royal protocol, broken, but beautifully so. He whispered something. Only those close enough heard it. Finally, King Philippe's eyes glistened. Queen Letizia smiled through tears. Across the aisle, Queen Margrethe held her cane tightly, a faint smile lifting her face. She knew what this meant, not just for her grandson, but for the future of Europe's monarchies. A bridge between North and South. Tradition meeting change. The ceremony was short, sacred, real. No extravagant performance, just vows whispered in English and Spanish, promises bound by faith and love. When the priest declared them husband and wife, the crowd stood in applause. No one could hold back their tears. Outside, thousands had gathered. Some holding Danish flags, others waving Spanish ones. The air was cold, yet the emotion was warm and alive. The newlyweds stepped out to the church steps, greeted by a roar that echoed through the city. And then, it happened, that historic kiss. Under a light snow, as cameras broadcasted worldwide, Christian and Leonor sealed their vows. No script, no arrangement, just pure, undeniable love. But what the public didn't see was what came after. Behind closed doors, both royal families sat together for the first time. King Felipe and Queen Letizia exchanged warm words with Queen Margrethe and Crown Prince Frederick. History was being written in whispers, in shared glances, in a peace only love could create. This wasn't just a wedding. It was a statement. For years, both Leonor and Christian had been shaped by duty. Every move watched, every friendship dissected. But in this moment, they reclaimed their humanity. They chose each other, not as monarchs, but as hearts meant to unite. The reception at Amalienborg was private, but details began to surface. The first dance, set to Amor Eterno, played by a Danish string quartet. Christian led with gentle grace. Leonor smiled, her eyes shimmering under the chandeliers. When she whispered something in Spanish, he laughed softly, responding in her language. Two worlds, now speaking as one. Guests described the atmosphere as otherworldly. Prince Joachim toasted to the young couple, calling them the future of modern royalty. King Felipe spoke emotionally, recalling Leonor's childhood. My daughter, the one who once feared the cameras, now stands before the world fearless and in love. Queen Letitia's words came last. She raised her glass and said, "Let this union remind us that duty without love is a crown without meaning." Outside, the crowd continued to cheer as fireworks lit the Danish sky. Across Spain, the news dominated every screen. Madrid's royal palace was illuminated in red and yellow, while church bells rang across Asturias, Leonor's homeland. Royal watchers called it the most unexpected royal wedding of the decade. Others called it Europe's new beginning. But for those who watched live, it was something else, a love story unfolding before their eyes. Yet, not everyone celebrated. Inside Spain, questions arose. Would Leonor still ascend as queen? Could she rule from abroad? Would Denmark and Spain share a royal alliance unseen since medieval times? The palace released a short statement later that night. Her Royal Highness Princess Leonor of Spain remains heir to the Spanish throne. Her marriage to His Royal Highness Prince Christian of Denmark symbolizes friendship, unity, and enduring love between our nations. The message was diplomatic, yet beneath its surface lay something powerful. A new era. A generation unafraid to love beyond borders. In the following days, international reactions poured in. British tabloids called it Europe's new royal fairy tale. American media labeled it the wedding that broke royal protocol. In Denmark, the people rejoiced, many saying Christian had finally found someone as regal as she is real. But perhaps the most touching response came from an elderly Spanish woman interviewed outside the palace. With tears in her eyes, she said, "Leonor reminds me of her father when he chose love." History repeats, but this time, it smiles. Back in Copenhagen, as the night drew to a close, the couple appeared once more on the palace balcony. The city below glittered like a sea of stars. Christian wrapped an arm around Leonor. She rested her head on his shoulder. No speeches, no rehearsed gestures, just peace. In that quiet moment, it was clear, they weren't just two royals uniting nations. They were two souls proving that love, even under the crown, can be free. The bells of Copenhagen tolled one last time as the palace lights dimmed. Across Europe, hearts were full, tears were shed, and headlines exploded. Spain's future queen had married for love, and the world would never forget this day. Because sometimes, history doesn't wait for permission. It happens when two hearts dare to write their own chapter. And tonight, that chapter began, in Denmark, on November 6, 2025.